You know where you are? This is GoIndieNow. This is where we go indie now. Her interviews done right here on our show. Interviewing, being asked the same questions that I've always asked. Just not here. Not anymore. Playlists have been created. And those who have given their time, they will be rewarded. They will be on our channel for all of time. But listen to their words. For they only say they want to help my indie brothers and sisters. Help them with open arms and open hearts. To hear the advice that they have to give. To listen to the trials and tribulations of what they've done, right and wrong. And if we don't come together, if we don't listen now, we'll be eaten up by the traditionalists. I don't know. Maybe we'll learn how to do this thing as who am I kidding? It's always time to go indie now. Hey everybody, and welcome to another Time to Go Indie Now. Yes, the show's going to look a little bit different now. And yes, it'll still be here when it's all said and done. And we'll continue to do it. It's our flagship show. We've got to, right? This is where it all began. This is how Go Indie Now got started. And yeah, it started with interviews. And then we moved into segments and produced a lot more content that was more of the variety angle. And the shows got bigger and bigger, and they got way too big. And I have been asked several times to just put the interviews aside and make them their own separate thing. And, you know, I was so hell-bent. I had a rhyme and reason in why I wanted to do it the way I did it. And I wanted to put together something that brought us all together. So I wanted the branding to reflect that we were together, and thus I put everything into one bundle. But I think we're now at a point where that can slowly be redistributed and put out there in a different way. And thus that's why I've decided to remove the interviews from what we're doing now on this show, and with the interviews being their own separate thing, and all the other shows that we're producing, and put the focus on the artists that took the time out of their busy schedule, out of what they were doing, the frantic festival that they were at, or the time that they needed, to be writing or creating or doing whatever they're doing, and put it out there so that they can be celebrated, and celebrated the way they should be. So that's the decision I made, and so they're out there. I encourage you to please go check them out. I know that right now you've probably seen, if you are a frequent watcher of the show, you've probably seen all the interviews. I did add a little bit of stuff to a few of them that hadn't been in there before, so you might see a nugget or two that you don't recognize. I will try and do more of that with more of the interviews. I'm not going to go all the way back in our archives. I'm going to leave some interviews into the shows that they were in, and that's where they'll stay. It becomes, you know, I just think that there is a certain point where you have to start fresh and move forward. And to those who aren't appearing on the interview timelines and the playlists that we have created on our site, please come back and see me. Especially if you have something else going on, I would love to bring you back. I'm a better interviewer, and we have better setups, we have better everything. So it's going to be a better interview. And so I encourage you all to come and be a part of that. So that's basically, I just wanted to really quickly clear all that up and give you all the 411 and a little inside baseball on how we're doing things here at GoIndieNow. And we're excited for the future. We've got a new show debuting, which you'll see a little teaser for later on in this show. And we have much more coming in the weeks, months, and days ahead. So I hope that you guys all stick around and enjoy this show and give it the love that you've been giving it. We really appreciate everything that you do. Comment, like, subscribe. Please give us all your feedback. Let us know that you're watching us and supporting us, and let us know if we can do anything for you. So we're here. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the word out about you and put you on the pedestal that you deserve to be on. So with that being said, welcome to our show, and let's get with it.
Hello everyone, this is Okubo here at GoIndieNow. Today's film is called Happy Halloween. It's on the YouTube channel for Nikhilesh Kumar, and this is a short film. It's an animated film, and I wanted to do a short animated film for Halloween just because I know we're all really busy and we want to go out and enjoy our Halloween as we want to enjoy everything else. I'm not including trailer for this film. I am including a picture, and I'm including a short thumbnail for it. The links are going to be in the description. It's very short. It's reminiscent of Bugs Bunny cartoons from back in the day. The witch, the whole thing. It's that kind of feel to it. So it's very upbeat and enjoyable, and you're going to enjoy this very short 2 minutes and 36-second film. And the creator his name is Pavan, and then it has an S, and the sound effects and everything else like that is done by Sai Harshith. So go out there, check this out on YouTube. It's called Happy Halloween, and this is Okubo for GoIndieNow.
Hello and welcome. My name is Julia Allen, and I am here today with another review for you. This week is a little bit different because I actually reviewed 3 really short prequels. So they were by Timothy Bateson, and the first one was called Under a Hunter's Moon. The second one is The Lupine's Call, and the third one is Wolves in the Desert. And this is prequels to his series Shadows over Seattle. these were all very different in the characters that he followed. It didn't stick with the same cast of characters, and the situations that they dealt with were all really different as well. The common thread of the series seems to be wolf shapeshifters. The first two were from the shapeshifter's point of view, and the third one was a normal human who didn't know that shapeshifters exist. And the last one was also a military story. So the enemies were actually the shapeshifters. And so that was a really interesting perspective. So let's talk about each one. The first prequel is Under a Hunter's Moon, and it was super short, only 3 chapters. It starts out with some great suspense as a character is breaking into a building for an unknown purpose. So we don't really know what's going on or why. So it was a pretty good hook that drew you in. It plays on your emotions as well as you get into the heart of the story, which I really enjoyed. I like stories that do more than just entertain with a fun plot. So my big complaint about this was its length. I was really hoping for a longer story. When I received these ARCs, I just knew, like, I first received the third one, which is Wolves in the Desert. And so I didn't realize that it was just a short prequel. So I actually had emailed Timothy Bateson and asked for more because I wanted more of the stories. And I noticed that it was his third prequel, so I asked him to send me the first 2. So that was a big complaint for me, was that they were really short. The second prequel is called The Lupine's Call, and it was definitely my favorite out of the 3. It deals with a troubled protagonist who gets himself into an impossible situation, and he has to face the consequences. So it has a lot of suspense as you're reading, because you have to find out, like, what's going to happen next and how can he possibly get out of the situation okay. So it was really interesting in that way. And I read through it super quickly, but the ending didn't really satisfy me. It jumps forward in time from where he's in this impossible situation and you're trying to figure out how he's going to get out, to all of a sudden he's already in the next stage of the situation. And so it was kind of a little abrupt for me. And it also didn't really have a solid resolution. It shows him an example of his new situation, and there's no real conclusion to that situation. Like, it shows him chasing somebody, but we don't really see, like, does he catch them or does he not catch them, and how is his life now that he's in this new situation. So, these kinds of endings are not really my favorite. So I wanted more resolution, and I wanted to see how he really settled into his new life. The last one was Wolves in the Desert. So this was a military story, which isn't my usual read, but I'm really up to reading things outside of my preferred genres, so that didn't really bother me. This was another really short one. It was only 3 chapters again, and the protagonist, like I said, is human. He doesn't really know shapeshifters exist, let alone are in the enemy's ranks, waiting to kill him and his men. So it was really an interesting perspective to write the story from, and it was actually the first one that I read, so it was kind of the one that introduced me to this world. So I thought it was really interesting that it was from, like, a normal human's point of view, as opposed to somebody who knows that these supernatural elements exist and is just trying to survive. Overall, I would say these are good, really fast reads. So I usually myself like things longer, so I was definitely left wanting more, especially from the second one, which could have gone on for a lot longer than it did with the storyline that it had. But these did serve their purpose, because now I am interested in checking out the series after being introduced to this world. So give these short reads a try and check out more in the series from Timothy Bateson. And thank you for joining me.
It's Halloween, kitties. If you like music that makes a big racket, let me present to you a Puerto Rican band called Tavu. Tavu. I've known and I've been following Tavu since I was in college in '99. It's been a hot minute, but still, these guys, as you can see, don't pull punches and don't take prisoners. It's October, so I thought I wanted to put something a bit more heavy. For October. Next month we'll see what curveballs I can find to throw. But I've been meaning to do an indie music review of Tavu for a long while because they're one of the best metal bands out there. It's not just because they're Puerto Rican. I know I've seen them live. I know Marcos and I know David and David is the drummer. Marcos is the singer. These guys, they're pretty intense, but in the best way possible. Sometimes you need music like this, and sometimes I put music like this, and people are like, "Yeah, today's not a good day to ruffle JD's feathers," for some reason. Who knows? But still, as you can see, they're pretty heavy, and from the bands I've seen live, honestly, the best double pedal drumming that I've seen, or one of the best double pedal drummings that I've seen, is from this band. And it's always cool to be able to enjoy some nice hardcore juicy metal in Spanish and in another language, because it's not just English, it's not just Celtic, it's not just German, Rammstein. Sometimes you need something with a lot of grit, and Tavu has always had a lot of grit. From heavy bands from Puerto Rico, they are like 3 or 4 bands that I really like. Off the top of my head, the now defunct bands of Ongo, which is phenomenal, a bit more prog rockish and broader spectrum, and Guabe, which was a bit more accessible. Tavu is not interested in being accessible. They're interested in ripping your head off with heavy riffs, meaningful lyrics, and just sheer intensity. It's been a hot minute since I've seen them live, and I really do hope that when I go to Puerto Rico, I have a chance to see them. If you're ever in Puerto Rico, or in a random place where they get invited, which has happened, by all means, if you see them in the lineup, don't miss it. So, that's the indie music review. The album that you're hearing is actually Clamor Victorium Clamor Silenti, which is, I'm pretty sure it won an award. I'm not sure what, but all I can say is that from top to bottom, it's not gonna let up. And if you like metal music, you will not be disappointed. So till next time, peace, love, rock girls, and rock on.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Joe. This is fantastic. Love to take part in pretty much anything that you do. So I am author, educator, and gentleman Jim Jackson, and today I'd like to read you a little bit about my latest release, Kiss, The Cockroach Queen, which is old-style, hard-boiled pulp meets Chinese mythology on the streets of Hong Kong, my favorite city in the world. So this is Chapter 1, where we first meet King Wong, the world's only exoteric, with 2 R's, consultant, who deals with these mythical beasts that no one else believes in. Hong Kong is a hard place for small things. It's a city of big buildings, big money, big suffering. Anything small is forced down through the cracks in the 21st century shell, down into the seething 19th century crotch of the city, where monsters, human and otherwise, vie for tiny postage-stamp kingdoms in life-or-death games of status and one-upmanship. And today, a hot wind blew in hints of an oncoming storm. And I was the one who could stop it. I was the world's only exoteric consultant, an expert on the other kind who boil up from the borderlands and live in the cracks and holes our human foursquare world refuses to see. I was the one who could hold back the storm. But with the humidity over Hong Kong holding sweat inside skin, maybe I just wanted to find an air-conditioned bar, flirt with a server who's paid to flirt back, and raise a cold sandmag to old days. At least I had a lead on a case. I thought of the dripping shower in my apartment back in Chungking Mansions. A plumber would be expensive, and a paycheck's a paycheck. And so I lost myself in the bouncing of the Star Ferry from Tsim Terminal to Central, where I had a meeting with some well-to-do Foursquare dame. I pulled my straw hat over my eyes. I wiped the sweat and grit from the back of my neck with a handkerchief and turned to the water. I thought I saw something silvery and shimmering break the surface and scatter the oil silics and flotsam. Probably just a foil wrapper from an egg waffle. I couldn't trust my eyes. They were hard and bleary from another sleepless night at the hands of my vindictive, dripping shower. A little girl, maybe 5 years old, all pigtails and pink ribbons, with a doll in a pastel patchwork blanket, shrieked and squealed on her grandfather's lap with each bump of the waves. She nearly dropped her doll. The boat hit another wave of the wake, and she was off squealing and bouncing. I turned back to the water and pulled the linen of my suit jacket around my best fraying shirt. The waffle foil had drifted alongside and was keeping pace with the boat. Weird. I pulled my hat farther down and pretended that I didn't know what that waffle foil really was. But when the rain cracked open a perfectly clear sky, I couldn't pretend anymore. I stood up. "Joe Hoy!" I called. "Everybody get back!" I saw terror on the faces of the passengers, and I knew I hadn't caused it. They ran for the stern. They all ran, except the little girl and her grandfather. She was pulling his hand to help him, but he couldn't get off the hard bench. I moved in to help, but the sudden rush of water behind me and the silvery flopping on the deck grabbed my attention and pulled. I looked at the dragon, silver, no more than my arm's length, and its red eyes held a terror that I'd never seen before in another kind creature from the borderlands. The fear writhed the dragon's thin body, and the beast spouted dirty water from its mouth and nose. A scream, and I turned. The grandfather clutched his chest, and the little girl screamed again. The dragon flailed its way between them and the stern of the ferry, hissing and shrieking and blocking their only way out. Dim. I guess it was up to me now. Thanks, Joe. All the best to everybody. You can find out more at reallygoodstory.com. Kiss the Cockroach Queen. I'm Jim Jackson. reallygoodstory.com. Plancha now. Dig you later.
Hey everyone, my name's Tiki. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I write in the young adult genre with a paranormal twist. I'm also diving into the new adult and the horror genre as well. I like coffee like so many other authors, Doctor Who, and I also like playing board games. I want to thank Joe Compton for allowing me to make this video and to tell you guys about my latest release, Crave. The series is called Ladies of Death. The second part is coming out on December 27th. Each book is connected but can be read as a standalone, so let me read a part for you. I was running again. This time, the sun shined brightly down on the snow-covered surroundings, making everything shimmer in its path. Even though there was no snow on the road, I would stay on the soft ground. I felt as though lava was coursing through my veins, and the smooth slush soothed my burning paws. The snow started blowing and falling in bigger flakes, tickling the tip of my nose. I let my tongue waggle out, catching it. A few cars passed by and slowed down once they caught a glimpse of me. I wouldn't give the gawkers the satisfaction of looking their way. Instead, I ran faster. I turned away from their curious eyes, dodging towards the trees and pushing myself deeper into the forest. The snow stopped falling, revealing a blue, cloudless sky. Something was coming this way. The rustle of trees echoed loudly in my eardrums. My head whipped around as a raven swooshed through the trees, flying above me. The bird cawed. He kept up the pace, and every so often I would jump and try to nip at its jagged, pin-needle feet. He was too fast and dodged every attempt. We ran through the forest for what seemed to be hours. I caught a rabbit and devoured the meat until all that was left was a pile of white fur. Once the sky grew dark and the stars were out, we finally made it to the mountains. The bird squawked, swooped down, and nestled against my neck. Somehow, I knew in my heart he wanted me to trail behind him. He took me past the trees and into a clearing. There stood a row of 6 tan teepees and a large blazing fire. He landed in front of the fire and his wings fluttered. A shriek spilled out from his beak and the entire length of his body shook. Its head snapped back. Bloodied black feathers were torn from the raven's body and revealed smooth tan skin. Thank you so much.
Last night. What time did you go to bed?
1:30.
And you didn't see anything at all?
I was in my garage all night.
Why on God's green earth would someone dump a body in your backyard?
String of complaints from the neighbors. Drunk and disorderly, resisting arrest. Guy's a vet, we cut him some slack.
I have a permit for that.
Why do I think you had something to do with it?
You suffer from dark thoughts?
You're the guy who found the dead girl.
Somebody trying to send you a message? Yeah, I'd be paranoid if I were you, too.
You think you could run a game on me?
We don't know what happened. Maybe you know something we don't.
We don't like guys who kill women living on our street.
I'm a USA Today bestselling author. I write young adult and new adult books, currently focusing more on the new adult, but I do have a young adult series that is available on Kindle Unlimited if you like fantasy books. It's called The Pearson Prophecy. Also, there is a fantasy standalone that I co-wrote with an author friend of mine that is fantasy, that is on Kindle Unlimited, called Marked Paradox. And this is a mixed, this is new adult, and there is some young adult authors as well. But paranormal romance anthology that's out for a limited time, available on Kindle Unlimited as well. Over 15 different stories on that. But what I'm going to focus more on today is my new release coming out October 25th. It is a edgy, upper, young adult, clean, new adult paranormal read. It is about reapers, obviously. It's in the title. But it does have mild cussing in there. That's why I say it's edgy, upper, young adult. The main character is 19, so it's kind of that borderline between young adult and new adult. But let me read a little excerpt from this. Nights like this suck, but I have a job to do. Lord knows if I fell, I'll never hear the end of it. Dim overhead lights flicker in the dark alleyway behind Club Felix, and the stench of piss and vomit infiltrates my nose. I remain several feet away from the back entrance and hide behind some empty boxes, trying to stay out of sight. The couple out back are up to no good. The guy's dark hair is tied up in a low ponytail. He adjusts the waist of his jeans, doing a half-assed job of tucking in his polo shirt before taking something from the woman's hands. He huddles over it and puffs away. Even from where I'm standing, it isn't hard to see how dilated his pupils are. It's clearly not his first hit. The woman beside him leans all over him like she can't get enough, either of him or the drugs, maybe both. Her brown hair flows over her shoulders and brushes her breasts, which are barely contained by her red tube top. They press against the man's body as she runs her fingers up and down his chest. Gag me now. My target better come out soon. I'm not sure I can watch this show much longer. This club isn't one of the most reputable around Atlanta, so there isn't any telling what could go down. If he doesn't hurry up, I'm going to have to go in and track him down, which is the last thing I want to do. The guy outside, having finished whatever he was smoking, gropes the woman, pushing her up against the wall and pressing his mouth to hers. Great, like this night can get any better. The back door flaps open, and a man with dirty blonde hair stumbles out. He sidesteps to the left a few times before righting himself, leveling his muddy green eyes at me or past me. I can't tell if he's sober enough to see anything. Finally, my target. Falling to the ground, he moans into the concrete. My heart pounds in my ears. There he is. That's the soul I'm to read tonight. So once again, this releases October 25th. It's available on Kindle Unlimited, so check it out. Thanks.
Hello,
Hey,
I am Pippa Bailey,
and I'm Mike Pilgrim.
and we're here with Joe to talk about
Our brand spanking, sparkly new Halloween.
horror book, short story horror book called Poison Candy that was out today.
Yes.
Which is the... Oh, it's there.
Today is the
It's
25th,
here.
so there it is. There
25th of October.
Ooh, fancy, fancy, fancy. We are particularly goddamn proud of this thing. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it's been really, really hard work. We're both kind of the kind of authors that will be going, yes, I will get a book out this year. I will get a book out next year.
And this has
I will do
been
it. And this
the
was
state for some considerable years for both of us
for both
separately.
of us. But together we make a very good team.
Yeah. There you go. High five, go team. It is a horror book of 100-word short stories. A drabble is a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end. 100 words, no more, no less. So there are going to be no cliffhangers here. We're each going to read a choice of our drabbles.
Yes, a choice of drabbles. One of our favourite stories each. Yeah. I guess I'll go first.
I think that's probably wise, dear. What did you pick?
I picked Sex and Candy Apples.
Swell. That good?
It good. It be good.
It good, yo.
It good, yo. Looks like that. Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
This is how it looks on an iPad. Anyway, Katie danced around the punch bowl. A year worth of planning had paid off. Groups of drunk teenagers huddled in dark corners groping each other. The stink of sex and candy apples permeated the room. It would be enough to attract them. Then, maybe they'd make her one of them. A vampire. Shadows crept along the lawn as they descended. Unfortunately, Katie had miscalculated who she was going to attract. 4 hulking werewolves burst through the lounge window and ravaged the hormonal partygoers, tearing them limb from limb in a hurricane of fur and blood. Katie shrugged. Close enough. And that was Sex and Candy Apples. It's 100 words.
So the one I picked is called Not Twice, Randy Brindle.
It's a good one. It's good. I like it.
Thank you.
It's okay.
If ever a child needed his ass smacked raw, it was Randy Brindle. He'd TP'd the church, destroyed the coffee bean bathroom with cherry bombs, and sugared Principal Gibbons's engine. But crossing Haggy John's was the last straw. He smashed every pot plant on her porch before grabbing the biggest jack-o'-lantern. But the gourd's jaws clamped down on his wrist and engulfed his arm up to the elbow in milliseconds. Bones crunching, didn't even have time to scream. Through the darkened window, Haggy watched the legs disappear down its chomping gullet. Grinning, she popped the kettle on.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so these and 98 more.
98 more.
98 more.
Plus bonus added extras.
Plus bonus added extras are in the book. So if you like weird art, you'll like this book.
Yeah.
If you like short stories. The stories are perfect. They're perfect for escaping from social media for a little while.
Yeah.
They're perfect for reading in between your children screaming at each other.
It's pretty much zero commitment reading, so dig
saying,
in. It's about as Halloween-y as things can get. They are vile and tasteless most of the time, which is
perfect for us.
It's our wheelhouse, dear.
I hope you enjoyed Poison Candy.
Yes.
Which is here still, I think.
Yeah, it is right there. There it is, most indeedly. So, thank you very much for spending time with us.
Yep.
I'm Mike Pilgrim. And this is
Pippa Bailey.
And we hope you pick up
a copy
of Poison Candy.
$2.99. It's cheaper than a pint of beer.
The fantabulous, wonderful Halloween. And
yes. Drink lots.
Yeah.
Make pumpkins.
All the
Make
time.
love. Don't make love with the pumpkins.
With the pumpkins. Not in public, anyway. You can do that quietly at home.
Really? Can I?
Duh.
Okay, so goodbye from me.
And from me. And happy Halloween.
Happy
Cheers.
Halloween.
There's something going on with you. I'm coming over tonight. Call her, Ashley. She's here.
Mom?
Ask her again.
Mom, are you here? Please, Mom, I'm begging you. I want you in my life. Will you please come back to me? I love you, please.
In the name of Jesus Christ, tell me your name. I am God.
Hello, fellow writer friends. I'm Kristina Rienzi, thriller author, writer coach, and president of Sisters in Crime Central Jersey. Today I'm here to talk to you guys about how to get out of your own way and how to stop holding yourself back from success that you want and so deserve. Each of us authors here, we have our own definition of what success looks like. It's what we're going for, why we get up every morning and we write that book or that screenplay or that story. And, a lot of times it's really ourselves that are holding us back from that success that we want. And, it could be in something small, like, we don't celebrate a win, like something great happens and we don't celebrate it. We don't focus on all that we've achieved. We just move forward, which is something I'm, definitely guilty of and working on, just like all the other things that we're going to talk about today. But, maybe it's focusing on the negative, instead of the positive, like what, where you were rejected versus where you were praised, be it in a review or otherwise. Other times it can hide itself really in the form of like playing it safe, doing what you're comfortable doing because that's safe and there's no risks that to take, but you're not taking those risks and so opportunities aren't appearing for you. So that's something that we also do. Or many times we'll let fear win. We could be afraid of getting up in front of a room and doing a workshop because we don't like speaking in front of people. We don't know what they're going to think of us or if they're going to like what we have to say or if it's going to be helpful. It could also be fear of failure and fear of success, which a lot of us struggle with, both of those things. So, all of these things that are holding us back are natural and normal for you and for whatever's happening with you. I mean, it's the way we operate in this world, and a lot of it is serving the purpose of protecting us. So it does have a purpose, but it's definitely not helping us be successful. It's not helping us to go for that big dream we have, whatever that big dream is. And it's also not helping us unleash our greatness, the greatness inside of us, which we all have. We're storytellers, we have stories to tell, we have readers to meet, we have places to go. And when we hold ourselves back, we are getting no closer to that than we were the day before. So we're sabotaging ourselves in holding ourselves back, and we're in our own way. So, we're going to talk about, obviously, how to get out of your own way today. And the good news is, this doesn't have to be the way it is forever and ever. It doesn't have to be our destiny. It doesn't have to be our future. It's where we are right now in a current situation or mindset, and it's temporary. These things don't go away overnight, but certainly when we find ourselves in a bad place, we can move out of that place. So if you find yourself stuck, or holding yourself back, you're feeling bad, like you had a bad review, you see someone else who had a mega success and you're wondering if that'll ever happen to you, or you're thinking that will never happen to me and that's something you want. Maybe you have some level of success and you're afraid that you're going to lose it, or you're afraid you're not worthy or what others will think. And this does happen a lot, believe it or not. You get what you want and then you're like, oh my gosh, what will others think? Do I deserve it? And these crazy thoughts can go through your head, and they certainly go through mine. So that's why I'm sharing that. You know what that is? It's all saying the same thing, and it's the same thing we all have. It's that message of I'm not good enough, right? It rears its ugly head in so many ways, but it's inside of all of us, and it pops out at the most inopportune times. The times that we need to be feeling proud of ourselves, we're wondering if we're good enough. The times opportunity might strike, are we good enough? Do we have the courage? It's more than just your inner critic. It's like an inner monster, that inner gremlin, that inner bear that's just barreling down on you when you're weak. And like I said, it doesn't go away easily, but over time you can work to recognize it, confront it, and even embrace it, and that's over time, and just know that that's possible. So how does it show up? It shows up as a thought, for example, that you might have. So the first thing that'll happen is that you have this thought that you're a terrible writer, or maybe it's I'm not worthy of success. Maybe it's I'm destined to fail. I'll never be successful. And so when these things happen, we hold ourselves back because we believe it. And even if it's a fleeting moment, it's like a split-second thought in your head, we hold ourselves back because we hear it and we believe it. It's easy to believe for most of us. So if I were to coach you on this, or you to coach yourself on this, I would go through a scenario something like this. And I think this is something you can play out for yourself if you're comfortable when this happens. So something happens that brings you down. It freezes you. It makes you question yourself in your writing, and you're thinking, should I really do this writing thing? And I'm terrible. I'm a terrible writer with a terrible manuscript, and what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. There's some questions you can ask yourself, okay? And really, it's putting in perspective, what is it that you really want? What is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? And if the answer is, have my book be on the New York Times bestseller list, let's say that that's your goal. Okay, so feeling like you're, this terrible writer and terrible person and you're frozen, how is that thought helping you? It's not helping you, right? It's holding you back a little bit. So what is it that you're really afraid of? Why aren't you taking that next step? And your answer may be, well, you know what? I really do want to be on the New York Times bestseller list, but actually I'm kind of afraid of success. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like, what people are going to think of me, if I deserve it. Okay, so if you're afraid of success, what is that doing for you, that fear of success? Okay, so, well, I'm afraid of it, so I guess I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm not going to take risks. I'm not going to embrace anything, that happens good because I don't deserve it. And, I'm actually not going for that thing. So, okay, so you're holding yourself back is what it sounds like, right? So how is holding yourself back, not going for that thing, that New York Times bestseller list, not putting yourself out there, how is that moving you toward the goal of being on the New York Times bestseller list? And it's not, right? So what would life look like? And this is really important to think about. What would life look like if you weren't afraid to succeed? How would that look? And maybe you'd say something like, well, I'd be fearless. I wouldn't care what anybody thought. I would just go for it and I would follow my dreams. I'd follow my passion. Okay, so if that's what it would look like, and how would you feel when that happened? Oh, well, I'd feel amazing. I'd be achieving my goals. Wow, okay, maybe I would get that New York Times bestseller list because I'd be trying for it, right? So if you kind of logically talk yourself through it and you think, all right, well, now that I'm out of that little mindset trap, what's one thing I can do right away to start living like that, to start living my passion, to be fearless, to not worry about what people think, and not worrying if your book will sell. What would you do? Maybe the answer is you'd pursue the story of your heart and not what the market's looking for right now. Maybe it would be to, just put yourself out there, enter a contest, do a live video, proclaim your goal to the world. Whatever it is, what's one small thing you'd be comfortable doing, and then do that thing. So it's, asking yourself some questions around it. What is my goal? Really, what's holding me back? What is it I'm really afraid of? How is that fear helping you get to your goal? It's not, right? And what are you doing as a result of it? Nothing. Okay. So what would you like to do? What would it look like if you could move yourself forward? What would that feel like? That's really important. And one small thing you can do right away to get you there. So just asking yourself some questions like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Is it moving me forward? If not, what can I do to move myself forward? Because I really want that thing. I'm going to feel so great and amazing and proud of myself. How do I get there? Okay, easier said than done, and I know that, but these are just some things that you can ask yourself. Another way to look at it, and this is a simpler way, and it's a quicker way, and it's like in the moment, you're just down, and you're just not, you don't feel good about the whole writing thing. So with everything, right, with everything you do, there is a preceding feeling and a preceding thought. So it starts thought, feeling, behavior. There's a thought in your head, whether you recognize it or not. You feel a certain way, whether you recognize it or not, and you do something about it. So to get control of that is understanding all of those pieces, right? So when you don't feel good, you're not writing, you don't know why. Why am I not writing that book? Oh, I'm just not getting up early. I'm tired. No, why are you really not doing it, right? What do you think about yourself? What's the thought that pops in your head? Okay, well, I'm a terrible writer, actually. Like, I'm really bad. Okay. How do you feel when you think you're a terrible writer? Well, I really feel bad about myself. I don't feel good. All right. And what are you doing when you feel bad about yourself and you think you're a terrible writer? Well, I'm procrastinating. I'm staying safe. I'm not writing. I'm just making excuses. Okay. How are all of those things helping you achieve your big goal that you defined of being on the New York Times bestseller list? Well, it's not. Okay. So let's go back and let's change that a little bit. Okay. So what's a thought that could help you get to your goal, pursue your goal, right? And if you can't think of anything really specific, just go for the opposite. I'm a terrible writer. I'm an amazing writer. Okay, so we'll try it out. All right, well, I'll just think I'm an amazing writer. Okay, if you really believed you were an amazing writer, how would that feel? That would feel awesome. I'd have confidence and I'd feel great about myself. Great. If you felt great about yourself and you had confidence and you really thought you were an awesome writer, what would you do? Okay, well, I would take on the world. I would put myself out there. I would go for it. I would know that New York Times bestseller list is coming for me. Okay, so if that's the case, that one thing we did, the only thing we did was we changed the thought. And that is something you can do. And even if it doesn't feel authentic in the beginning, but you practice it more and more, it will. And it will be authentic. And the feeling will be real and the action will be real because you're going to try it on for size because it's going to move you towards your goal. And if you're not moving towards your goal, why are you doing this, right? Where we have a goal, whatever that goal is, move toward it. And do it with passion and love. That the reason that you write those stories and the reason your readers come back for you is because of those things. So, these are just some ideas, but start thinking like that. Like when you're stopped in your tracks from what it is you really want, ask yourself why. Why aren't you moving forward? What are you afraid of? What if you weren't afraid? What would it look like? How would you feel? Maybe try it on for size. Maybe just tell yourself, I'm not afraid. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going for it. Like I said, even if it's not authentic in the beginning, it will be. Just keep practicing. Just, fake it till you make it. Because when you do that, you do gain confidence. And it's amazing how when you feel something, it affects you on all levels and you're able to actually pick up that laptop or that pen and paper and you're going to go with it and you're going to believe in yourself. And then you believe in yourself, you're your biggest champion. So, and the secret here, the big secret here too, is when you're stuck with a character, go through this process with them. What are they thinking? What's holding them back? What's the monster inside of them? What's it saying? And that's in the beginning, right? When we pull them back to the worst place that they could be and we put them through all the stuff. And then at the end, when they've transformed, what happened to the monster? Did she hug it? Did she kill it? Like, what'd she do? And what is she telling herself now, or he? And these are just some secrets and things, but we're going through the same thing. This is life. This is the experience and the writing experience. So be your biggest fan. Don't hold yourself back. Do whatever it is you need to do. Even if it's a temporary thought change, That's in your control. And again, I know it's not easy, guys. I know this isn't like the answer to all your prayers, but I feel like with practice, this becomes a habit, and through the habit, things change. And when things change, you know, and you start going for these things and taking these risks and believing yourself and being proud of yourself and celebrating, and you don't hold yourself back, amazing things can happen. So guys, if you want more coaching stuff, certainly you can find all of that at KristinaRienzi.com under Right Life. I also have a Facebook group, Right Life. It's WRITE Life, and it's my coaching Facebook group. You're free to join. And also, I can be all my books and information at KristinaRienzi.com. So go forth, write, be your biggest fan, and don't hold yourself back anymore. You got this.
Hey guys, CL Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another marketing tip. So, newsletters. It's like a dirty word to many authors. We don't want to think about it. We definitely don't want to send them out, but they're a necessity. They're a necessary evil, we'll say. So, there's a lot of things that I could tell you about newsletters. There's all kinds of questions that people have about newsletters. But the question that I'm going to answer today is one that I get asked most often and that I hear asked most often. And that is, how often should I send a newsletter? This question doesn't have a definitive answer because it really depends on your audience, your genre, and how much time you have to devote to that audience. But here's what I did with my own newsletter. I polled my audience. I took the next newsletter that I was going to send, and I created a poll, and I said, hey guys, would you like to hear from me once a week, twice a week, or would you like to remain just once a month? And overwhelmingly, I got that they'd like to hear from me twice a week. And so I completely changed what I was doing. So what I did is I switched to the every 2 weeks format, and then I kind of made a template for each week so that they get something different with each email. And I've stuck to that template and it's worked really good. I'm still engaging with my audience, and I'm not having to send a ginormous, well, my newsletters are still pretty big, but I'm not sending a super ginormous newsletter packed with all kinds of stuff. They can focus more on a smaller newsletter more often. You can also do something that's called segmenting. And so for everyone who said they want to hear from you once a week, you can send them a newsletter once a week. Everybody who wanted it twice a week, you send them twice a week. And the monthly people, you send them once a month. Now that is a little bit more work, and you will be writing a ton of different newsletters. But if you have the time for that, and if you want to engage with your audience in that way, that is perfectly fine. One thing that I can tell you is you should always at least be sending once every 30 days. I know some people only send on new releases, and that's kind of a bad thing because your deliverability rating will go down. And so those people may not even see your email about your new release. They might go to the spam filter. And when people don't hear from you at least once a month, they may forget who you are. There's tons and tons and tons of authors out there. So what makes you stand out? Unless you're their favorite author, then they may not even remember who you are, and they might just delete that email. Now, when I split my newsletter into every 2 weeks, I actually ended up getting better open rates and better click rates, which is great. All I had to do was listen to my audience, and I've started, getting a lot more sales and a lot more emails back. Before, I don't think I ever received an email back from somebody who'd read my newsletter. Now, almost every time I send one, I get something back. And that also has to do with how I've changed my newsletter. I ask a lot more questions. I do a lot more fun things. It's not really just about selling books. And that's another really important thing about your newsletter. You don't want to use it as just a tool to sell your books. You want to sell yourself. You want to sell your personality, your likes and interests. And you want to connect with people out there who will eventually become your fans. And what are some ways that you can engage your audience and get more clicks? Well, I do polls. They're not about writing usually. They're not about anything very serious. Like one of my last polls was, what's your favorite magical creature? And I had a dragon, a mermaid, a vampire, and a werewolf. And overwhelmingly, dragon won. But I post the results of that in the next newsletter. People like to see those things. They like to click on that. And that gets them deep into your newsletter, and they'll actually look at some of the stuff around it. So if you be yourself in your newsletter, have a little fun with it, and not just try to sell books, then I promise you'll get some better sales, and you'll get better engagement with your fans. Okay, that's all I have for you. I hope I have helped you with your newsletter. Bye.
Everybody comes from somewhere, and it's that somewhere and all you've experienced that shapes you. The question is, how did it lead you to becoming an artist? Where did the art you create begin? And how has it evolved? How has it changed you, the person? These are the questions that we hope to answer on this show. Because this is you. This is your art. And these are your origins.
Hello, Sarah. I'm Hannah, and I'm here with your daughter, Ashley. She'd like to speak with you. Will you communicate with us? Sarah, if you're here, give us a sign.
Hannah, what's with this mirror? Shouldn't we close our eyes or something?
Oh, no, I think the mirror acts as some sort of conduit to the spirit world. We have to look directly into it in order to see your mom. Sarah, please speak now. Sarah, please come forward and speak with your daughter. What the hell? Did you hear that?
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know. Sarah, show us that you're here. What the hell? I saw something. What did you see?
I don't know.
Call her, Ashley. She's here.
Mom?
Ask her again.
Mom, are you here? Please, Mom, I'm begging you. I want you in my life. Will you please come back to me? I love you, please.
What did you do?
I did what you told me to do.
Now this is the will of him who sent me, the Father, that I should lose nothing of what he has given me, but that I should raise it up on the last day. For this is the will of my Father who sent me, that whoever holds the Son and believes in him shall have everlasting life, and I will raise him up on the last day. They said therefore to him, Lord, give us always this bread. But Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall not hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. But I have told you that I have seen me, and you do not believe.
I thirst, Apostles' Creed! I'll feast on her soul!
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
And what of my will?
The Lord Jesus Christ is upon you.
Lord, protect Ashley and keep her safe.
Ashley's not here.
Is this your handiwork?
Michael.
Who are you? Who are you?
Who the fuck are you?
Dear Lord.
I'm John Douglas, the pastor of Celebration.
I'm John Douglas, the pastor of Celebration. Cocksucker!
Dear Lord, cast away any evil that harms this child, Ashley or Tanya.
Her soul is mine.
So there was the newly formatted show with some new wrinkles and things that we've done, and obviously we've streamlined it and made it a more condensed show. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope that you continue to watch our show and continue to come back and watch everything that we're doing. We really appreciate it. And with that, it's always time to go indie now. So we'll see you again soon. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.